Long ago in a small village there lived a sweet, kind young girl named Tam. After her mother died, she and her father lived alone together, but one day, Tam's father married again. His new wife was a widow who also had a young daughter, named Cam. For a few years, the four of them lived together peacefully. But when her father passed away, everything changed for Tam. Tam's stepmother was mean and selfish. She doted on Cam but ignored and abused poor Tam. All day long, Tam watered the manioc roots and harvested golden yams while Cam chased butterflies and picked wild flowers. Tam worked hard and never complained. Over time, she grew into a beautiful young woman. Her stepmother, jealous for her own daughter, wanted to hide Tam's beauty. She gave her tattered clothes to wear and sent her work long hours in the sun so that her skin would become dry and ruddy, and gave her only leftover scraps and unripe bananas to eat. One day the stepmother sent the girls to the river to catch fish. "Come home with your basket full or you will have no supper," she threatened. The girls went to the river. As usual, Tam worked hard while Cam basked in the sun. Several hours later, Tam's basket was full of fish and Cam's was empty. Cam was just as mean-spirited as her mother and said to Tam, "Sister, your hair is so dirty. You should go wash it before we go home, or else mother will be angry." When Tam went to the water to wash her hair, Cam quickly dumped all of Tam's fish into her own basket and hurried home. When Tam returned and saw her empty basket, she wept because she knew she would be punished. Suddenly a beautiful fairy appeared before her. "Don't cry, child, but look in your basket. See this little fish? Look after it, and only good things will come to you." Tam looked into her basket and saw a little orange fish. She named him Bong and kept him in a little pond in the yard, secretly bringing him a few grains of rice each day. For weeks, Tam would call out, "Bong, come and eat," and little Bong would come up and eagerly eat his rice. Tam was happy to have a new friend. One day Cam and her mother saw Tam happily feeding Bong. Since they never wanted to see Tam happy, they hatched a wicked plan. "Come on, mother, help me catch the fish. I want to eat it," cried Cam. "Yes, my dear, we'll do it the moment Tam goes to work the field," replied the stepmother. As soon as Tam was away, Cam put on Tam's ragged clothes and rubbed dirt on her face, and called to the fish, "Bong, come and eat." When Bong came to the surface, the stepmother and Cam caught him and cooked him. When Tam came home she called out to her friend, "Bong, come and eat." But Bong did not come. Tam looked around and saw fish bones near the pond, and sadly realized what had happened. She carefully buried the bones and said farewell to Bong. Few days later Tam found a beautiful pair of red velvet embroidered shoes where Bong's bones had been buried. She knew they must have been a gift from Bong and the fairy. Tam was overjoyed. Never before had she owned anything so beautiful. She carefully tucked the shoes in her skirt pocket. Whenever she was alone in the field, safe from eyes of others, she would put them on and imagine a happier life. One morning, rain poured from the sky, and Tam ran as fast as she could to bring the cows and buffaloes to the barn. While running, she dropped her beautiful shoes into the muddy pond. She carefully washed them in the river and hung them on the buffalo's horns to dry. Suddenly, one shoe was snatched via a raven, who carried it away and dropped in front of the king's palace. Tam was devastated at the loss of her shoe, and took great care to keep her remaining shoe safe. At the palace, the king stumbled upon Tam's shoe. He marveled at how delicate and beautiful it was. "Whoever can swear such a shoe must be as lovely and graceful as the shoe itself, and I must make her my wife," he exclaimed. Thus, he sent out a proclamation that the maiden whose foot fit the shoe would become his queen. Word quickly spread throughout the kingdom. When Tam heard the news, she thought, "This must be my missing shoe," and begged her stepmother to allow her to try it on. "You ugly thing! You may not even leave this house until you finish sorting these grains," the cruel stepmother shrieked. She mixed all the grain together in a huge basket and rushed off with Cam to meet the king's messenger. As the heartbroken Tam began to weep, the fairy appeared. "Don't worry, dear child. Help will come," she cried. She summoned the ravens, who flew to Tam's side and, within minutes, had sorted every single grain. With cries of deepest gratitude, Tam happily rushed off to try on the shoe. Many women were pushing and pulling, but no one's foot was tiny enough to fit shoe. When Cam's turn came, squeezed with all of her might, but she could not force her foot into the shoe. At last it was Tam's turn and, of course, the shoe fit her perfectly. Then she surprised everyone by pulling out the other red velvet shoe. The messenger whisked Tam off to the king and they were married that day. From then on, Tam lived a happy life as queen, but never forgot the kind fairy or her dear friend Bong.